Hello everybody and welcome back to this new edition of Beyond the Board. It's been a while, but here we are with a brand new edition for Yoku's Island Express. So here I am accompanied by xWinG and HaraladX. Wait, did I butcher your name? I probably did. It's actually better if I just let you guys introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm xWinG, speedrunner and designer of the randomizer, and I also created the first bingo goals that are from Yoku's Island Express.
Yeah, I'm HaraladX. I play a lot of Yoku's Island Express. I also speedrun it and play the bingos a lot, especially randomizer. I've also worked on the randomizers a little bit.
So, what was your introduction to Yoku's Island speedrunning then?
I bought the game like 2 weeks after release, after watching a short video. I stopped the video like 2-3 minutes in and I was like, yeah, I have to play this. And I finished it 100% on the same day, and the day after I just wanted to keep playing and I started running, and yeah, that's the story basically.
For me, we later found out it was the same video as xWinG has watched. I saw the same video and I also just liked the game and I bought it, and then I never really played through it. Then after like 2 years or something, I kind of just felt like it was a good idea to speedrun this game because I, for some reason, started really liking this game.
What video was it that you both watched?
Just a let's play from Zombie, a German famous YouTuber.
What is your favorite aspect of playing Yoku's Island Express then, and why is that?
The gameplay mechanic and how it is. It's not just like pinball. You have always control about Yoku, the dung beetle, and you can just arrange yourself in the pinball machines and how the abilities work and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I've played other games too, and one thing that you have with many games that you don't have with Yoku's Island Express really is that once you fail at doing something, you kind of have to repeat what you've already done. In other games, you kind of respawn from a checkpoint, but in Yoku, you really just like go one loop in the flipper table and can just kind of you repeat only this one shot that you failed, but it's not like you get reset by a crazy amount sometimes.
Yeah, the game is pretty forgivable about your mistakes.
How did you get started into bingos? You already mentioned, xWinG, that you made the initial goals. So what about you, Haralad?
When I started speedrunning, I kind of got in contact with Wing, and at some point he recommended we would play a bingo. I didn't even know that existed up to that point, and then we played one and it was a lot of fun, and we kept playing bingos.
So actually, xWinG, how was like that process of making bingo goals then for you?
Very sloppy in the beginning. Like the first goals were not really good. Just imagine you have like 14 or 15 80 cost flipper to unlock in the entire game, and one of the goals were 12 to unlock. And yeah, it's like you have to invest so many fruits. That goal is like almost doing 80% of the game or so. After the years, we found what is a good solution for some goals and stuff like that, and we cut down the goals to good point, like always half of what you can get in the entire game.
What is it that you think that makes bingos fun within the game? Especially because, you know, there's a distinction between the vanilla game and the randomizer. Is there much of a difference in terms of how fun the bingos are, or is it similar?
What I like about these bingos is that you kind of see a lot of different parts of the game. You have to do kind of stuff everywhere. And the difference between vanilla and randomizer bingos is actually pretty large, I would say, because in vanilla you can really well plan out where you're going, what you're doing, in what order. And in the randomizer you always have to adapt to which items you get and so on. So you can't really predict what's gonna happen, and so you always have to like dynamically change your route. And I think that's a lot of fun, honestly.
Yeah, the work in progress in the randomizer is way more fun than the vanilla bingo, in my opinion, as well. Because you study through the entire run, like you get the noisemaker and then you can get the noisemaker gold. And if you don't get it, you have to find something else.
What is it that you think is the most engaging aspect of doing Yoku's Island Express bingos? Like, is it routing, execution, or anything else?
We have some bingo goals that allow for some stuff you wouldn't usually do in normal speedruns. Especially in the randomizer, you have just certain routes that you don't really need in runs where you just go for like all bosses or something. If you have some of these bingo goals, you might have to go away where you wouldn't usually go. So it also takes, I would say, some skill to maybe use new skips for new routes or something. For example, we have one beeline hijack where you can enter the fast fast travel system without actually unlocking it, which I would say you usually don't use in a normal randomizer run, but definitely I use it all the time in bingos.
Yeah, and the execution doesn't matter what you play in Yoku's Island Express, you always will get better. So playing bingo will make you better, playing speedrun or just playing the game casual, you're gonna always feel you get better in every run.
In the context of Yoku's Island Express, what is it for you that constitutes a fun and engaging goal versus one that you think may need some rebalancing?
There's some goals on our bingo card which are usually more annoying, where you need very specific items that are maybe even unique, and those are sometimes annoying. You don't want to have too many of those, because then your bingo will just be you get all the goals and then you kind of just have to find this one item or maybe even multiple specific items. Those are a little bit annoying, and also you really don't want goals where you need to do too much, like one we had before where you needed to get 12 flippers out of like 14 or 15, and that's quite a lot. And I think it's also good to have some easier goals so you can kind of do stuff in the beginning as well, because otherwise your run will be kind of in two halves, and in the first half you will just be looking for some good items, and then you'll start picking up speed at kind of getting goals done.
Yeah, and in the vanilla bingo, I don't think there are any real bad goals, because I tried to make them all kind of even. If you get a board with defeat all the 3 bosses, like 3 goals, and each of the goals is defeat a boss, it's get a bit harder, of course, but then there are goals that you can easily do as well. So it's a good arrangement of easy and harder goals, and the average is pretty nice in my opinion. And of course in vanilla you know where the items are, so those difficulty goals in randomizer are not given in vanilla. That's the difference between vanilla and randomizer.
When we're talking about routing, are there aspects of it that most people usually do not think of? And as an extension to that question, are there any mistakes in the thought process behind routing that can damage one's potential, if that makes sense?
I very often find myself using the quick travel system too much. In many cases, the quick travel system isn't actually the fastest route, but I always use it because it's very comfortable to use, so that's a routing mistake I often do.
And I guess for beginners is if they don't know all the skips, like there are over 50 or 60 skips in the game that you can use, but in speedruns you only use like 20 of them or so. And then in bingo, of course, you can use all of them. And if you forget or if you don't know a specific skip, it takes you way longer to get to a certain area and to do one of the goals. So that could be a little problem for new runners.
Skips really open up new routes. There's a lot of skips where that applies.
Because it's an open world game, we can basically, if we know all the tricks and even the hardest tricks that we know that are not in the logic of the randomizer, we can go to like 75 or 80% of the map without any item.
I'm interested by what Harald mentioned about fast travel, which can actually be bad. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah, there's a beeline system, it's called, where you can kind of like go along this linear path really quickly. But the problem is that often it kind of goes in a curve, and maybe there's a straight way to your goal, basically. For example, I don't really do this anymore, but I used to use 2 different beelines instead of going a direct path by taking a dive at the waterfall. And it's a lot faster, honestly. But for some reason, I thought for a long time that it's faster to use beelines, because I guess they're the quick travel system, but they're only good for certain routes. In many cases, there's faster ways to reach your destination, because they don't reach everything, just the most important areas.
When you are done with Screech, like just about talking about the fast travel system, you either have the chance to go to the left, unlock the beeline system, take a left curve with the beeline, and then curves to the right, makes a loop-de-loop in the middle, like you stay in one screen for like 3 or 5 seconds and you end up in the village. Or you can just go to the right and walk all the way, and it's actually faster to walk there.
Yeah, I guess there's sometimes some factors like that you just kind of have to remember.
There are also things that beginner might not know, like if you never played randomizer before, you don't know this fact that you need the noisemaker to color your ball. That is one of the biggest things that are like mind-blowing for new Yoku gamers.
What is it the kind of factors that make you think about which goals you want to go for and how you determine your route? What is that thought process, really?
Yeah, I mean, in the randomizer, it's really important not to pick goals where you need very specific items, because then you can be stuck for really long. And on vanilla, I mean, you know where all the items is, so that's not really a factor. You just want to have the goals that don't require too much effort to finish. So you don't want to have boss fights, for example, because they take long and they are quite far across the map, and that's more the question on vanilla. But on randomizer, it's really a lot about not wanting to need a lot of items.
When I start a vanilla bingo, I go through the entire board and mark what easier goals are with the star. And then I have like 20 marks, and from those I can make like my 3 best possible, or depends on what you go for. Or if I go for a blackout, I can then do a better routing and stuff like that. In randomizer, I just mark while I'm playing all the time what is possible to do. Like, it is possible that in the beginning I cannot mark anything because everything requires something, but most of the time it's like 3 or 5 goals that are for free. And if I get a mine item, I just mark the goals that are possible then. And then I can approach to whatever I get in the randomizer.
What would you say is the barrier for entry for people who are interested in picking up Yoku's HaraladX bingos? And have you got any advice for them?
We have a list of all the goals on the Discord where we explain all the goals as well, so that should help. And if there are any open questions, just ask us. I mean, we made our goals, we know how they work and how you can trigger them as fast as possible.
Yeah, we also have 2 different modes on the Bingo Sync website. One is with a little bit more elaborated titles, and one is really short, 1 or maybe 3-word bingo goals, so you can really quickly scan that board. But we also still have the easier version, so it's not too hard to understand.
In the normal version you find on Bingo Sync, it says like open 10 chests, or complete the juicery, or open green chest, or deliver Treeks package. And that's basically for the beginners that to get into the goals, because they explain in certain words what to do. And in the simplified version we just called it down to 1 or 2 words, like 10 chests, juicery, skin, sin, queen bee, Treek. For the people that already know the goals, it's way faster to, like, if you have to complete the juicery, it takes you awfully more time to read and to understand what you have to do than if you just read juicery. So that's why we came up with a simplified version for the more advanced people.
How do you think the community can further support bingos?
We can always use feedback, obviously. I think bingo is already really good, but the best would probably be to just play the bingos. There's not too many people who play the bingos, and obviously if more people play them, more people can give opinions on the goals, and I think there's still a lot to improve. So I think if people were to play bingos more, we'd know more about how good it is and what is good, what is bad.
Yeah, back in the days I was the only one who played the bingos. Then 1-2 other people came in and played them as well, gave some thoughts about what good goals are and what bad goals are, and we came up with new goals and designed other goals differently and developed every time a new bingo runner came, and then other left again because they have other things to do, of course. And every time a new people came in and played the bingo, we came up with new ideas, and Haralad made like 15 new goals a few months ago, which are really good in my opinion.
Yeah, I haven't been there since the beginning of bingos, obviously, and I've been working on the bingos, definitely, and I think that can happen with other people too, that they just start working on the bingo.
If they have a problem or a thought of the bingo and they tell us, we can adapt to that and we can change the bingo if we also have the same mind. Like if they tell us that Glomos is bad goal, we think about that twice, of course, because it's not a bad goal and stuff like that. But if they tell us the truth and we are also thinking that it's something bad, we might change things.
Have you guys got like community events involving bingo?
We could. We had not so far, but I was thinking about a tournament, or with bingo a tournament would also be nice. We are just a few people, like 5, 6, 7 people that are playing Yoku at the moment, so it's not that familiar for most people. If we get more players, I definitely gonna go for a tournament and stuff like that.
Are there any anecdotes you'd like to share?
I will mention that Haralad, me, and Warsheep are in the credits of the game on PC version because of the randomizer design.
Do you guys have anything more you want to say before we move on to the end?
I guess play more Yoku.
Yeah, play more.
We need more players.
Only if Yoku get more played, we get a Yoku 2 someday.
Exactly.
Also, you can join the Discord. You can find it on speedrun.com in the Yoku section.
Yeah, exactly. Join the
And,
Discord, tell us what you have to tell, and speedrun the game more.
And I'm always glad to help if there are any problems or if you want to learn something.
All right. Well, thank you so much to you both for participating in this interview. And do remember that if you are interested in participating yourself in the Beyond the Board, you can contact either me or Floha258. Thank you so much once again for this interview, and we'll be seeing you on the next Beyond the Board. Cheers!
Bye.